Oops. Hey guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast on at 1:30 Eastern Time. We're here to give you all the hardcore justice news and tell you our opinions and reviews. And obviously, we already had technical difficulties, so the things we're saying too. It's going to be that kind of day, but we're going to have a good time as always. We're going to take your calls in the second half. We have 4 lined up. If anyone else wants to get in touch with Craig via Twitter or right here in the chat group. And we'll go from there. But as you can see, not alongside me as always, but the Tommy Dreamer and Raven to my... Who are we going to be today? Who else was in a hardcore? I guess I'll be Little
Ryan?
Guido. It's it's Craig and Mike, everybody. What's going on?
What's up, guys?
All right. Craig's
Yeah.
awake. It's only 6:30 his time. There we go. Mike's with us live from the West Coast for the first time individually, and Max is taking a nap. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, so we have our hot topics, all that stuff to go in. We'll start in just a moment. Craig, do you have anyone in the chat group at the moment? Or not chat group, but in the room?
So on our chat group or
On the
Twitch
Twitch.
chat
Sorry,
group?
sorry. I'll be more specific.
I cannot see a damn
Oh, well,
thing.
that's nice.
I mean, I'm squinting. Excuse me.
Good to see you.
I can't see anyone
Okay.
yet.
All right, so we'll stall for a couple minutes. Craig, if you want to hit up the chat group and go into there.
Yeah. Drop the
Drop
DM
the
in
DM
there.
there.
So
Get
hopefully
everyone
people see
ready.
that.
I know it's 1:30, so it's weird. And if you guys are watching this later on YouTube, we'll have it up as soon as possible. So it's still relevant, and that you also get to see our hot topics, which are outside of hardcore justice for the most part. All right.
Yes,
And Craig,
yeah.
if you want to go over your stuff.
Okay. So yes, it's me. It's MIB Craig, aka Mr. Impact Blog for the TNAIW channel, and we are back, and we are live with our Hardcore Justice pre-show. And once again, if you don't know by now, you can catch us here, you can catch us there, you can catch us down near everywhere, from Facebook to Twitter, YouTube to Sounder. We're here. You can find us. Just simply search our names and you'll see. We've recently filmed the latest episode of the Hard Time
Yes.
Gaming Show, so keep a close eye on that. The latest episode of Wrestling Shit, where Geoff unboxes some classic TNA merch. Of course, every episode of the podcast is available on YouTube/Sounder. And that pretty much covers it for another week. So I believe we have an advert to
Yeah,
throw
let's
it
do
to.
into that, guys. It's the debut of our first edition t-shirts. Be right back. Harton Jennings, what's up, guys?
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast.
All right, and we're back. Just a small clip there. Welcome to the chat group, guys. Welcome to live and welcome to YouTube if you're watching it there. If you just saw, those are our first 3 editions of the t-shirts. Try mixing it up, guys. Try to have different lines and stuff that's kind of a wink to Easter eggs of the show, as well as Impact Wrestling lore. So we could start selling those in May. So we have the Johnson & Johnson ones that come in any skin color that you can come up with. We will find and match it. So they're flesh color Johnson & Johnsons. And the what one do we? Oh, the power rankings that you guys saw in the chat group will be released probably the following month. So some fun stuff there. But we're going to throw it to Craig and get right started with hot topics.
Yes, it's time for those hot topics, and we're going in number one, Hardcore Justice is tonight in less than 90 minutes, I believe. What do you expect to see from tonight? Let's kick it to Mike.
So what I expect to see, I expect to see a main event that's going to surprise a lot of people. If Jazz versus Deonna Purrazzo is the main event, that's what I should say. If that's the main event, and I believe that it should be. I think it's the match that actually has the most stakes, considering you got the Knockouts title and Jazz's career on the line. I think that Jazz, in what could be her last match, is going to go for broke in this match. I think she's going to do her best to try to tear the house down. And Deonna Purrazzo, the professional that she is, I think she's going to give her the very best possible match that she could absolutely give. So that's what I'm expecting from it. The rest of the card that's been kind of thrown together in like the last day and a half or so, not expecting much from the card. It's going to be just probably a lot of hardcore comedy spots. And a lot of, when they say hardcore justice, I think it's going to be more comedy justice. I don't think it's going to be as violent as they're making it out to be quite honest.
Well, I doubt they're going to be doing comedy justice at all. I'm sure it's going to be some cheesy spots, but yeah, no, I'm just, for me, you hit on the head. It feels like this card was thrown together in such a short time, which is unfortunate because, obviously it's WrestleMania week. They have a lead-in right now to shows that are on tonight. So it just it's a weird time just to throw something together. On the other hand, I see it as it's just going to be something that they're saying, okay, maybe we won't get a lot of views. Let's put something out there that's fun and enjoyable, and if people watch, at least our fans are enjoying it. It's a gamble they're taking. Yep. Now, on the other hand, could this all surprise us? Because even though to us it was thrown together in a couple of days, it was actually put together in the past 2 weeks because they've had the tapings and stuff, so they'd known what they were going to do. Sure, I'm going to be optimistic on this one and just go into it hoping I'm entertained. I know we'll go match and match in the second segment, as well as take your guys' opinions and stuff. But as far as what I'm expecting to be entertained, but I'm also expecting at least one thing that makes you say, oh shit, this was at least buzzworthy to make me want to go back and watch it. I think they'll give us at least one thing that isn't the norm, if it's a surprise or not. Is there only one title on the line? Just the woman in her knockouts? I don't want to say title change, but there's going to be something I think that's buzzworthy, just so they make it still where it's must-see TV when they do put these on. Craig?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on the same page as you guys. The main event, if it is title career, will surprise a lot of people. But in terms of what I'm expecting, I see a lot of people online saying that, this could be the best show of Mania week. I would really, really wouldn't get hopes up on
lower
that.
Your expectations.
It's going to. It's people. I know a lot of people thought it was going to go head to head with Mania, which I never believed that for a second. People are just really blowing that proportion, but don't expect it to be better than Mania. If you're going into with your mind open, think this could be Mania level.
Oh no!
Really low, really lower. It's not a lot I can say more on that one. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to every Impact show. So,
well, that's it. Once again, it's the expectations that we set. They're not saying it's a WrestleMania show. They're saying it's Hardcore Justice booked by Tommy Dreamer. So, if you go into it with the expectations of just enjoying a wrestling show, you are going to want to watch this, and you're going to enjoy it. And you might laugh, as he mentioned. You might cry, depending on who wins certain things. But at least you're getting some kind of emotion out of the Impact show. Which is what they need. So
yeah, and like I said, Impact, they have a level of which the pay-per-views go to, and they never really drop below that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they promoted it in such a way where they're not expecting anybody to watch this. And so, like, I think, like Geoff said, they're just going to go out there and have a good time, and with low expectations, and just try to put on a fun show. I think some of the matches, and we'll obviously get into those. Some of the matches have the potential to be really, really bad. There's two in particular that we're gonna get to that I'm just like, and you know, they could be like on your worst match of the year candidates. We'll see. Oh, we will see. But I do also think that there's going to be a few matches that are going to surprise some people, like the main event, and that have the potential with the people that are in them, that will have the potential to be really, really good. And I think that's a plus. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think they have the talent. Before we go to the next one, because I see it's about talent. The talent involved is good enough to make lemonade out of lemons. And I think that's the key to this: is just watch for the characters, the players, hope for the best on the rest, I guess. Craig, number 2.
Yeah. Number 2, yeah. So Reno Scum announced they're the latest to depart from Impact Wrestling. Does Impact need to prove they can add and keep more talent?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to look at this, and being transparent and unbiased is kind of the key to our show here. And in the chat group as well. I won't feed you stuff that I don't believe to be accurate or my honest opinion. I know I get called optimist a little bit too much for my liking, because if you know me, that's not the case, as Craig smiles. So I'll play from the pessimist side first. Okay, so you say we lose Taya, she's showing up next week on NXT. You lose the Rascals, they just won. Cross is just the champion again. Ethan Page is on AEW Dark. Reno Scum is just gone, who didn't have a full-time contract, mind you. So it could be picked up again anywhere. So yes, I see all the people you guys, not you particular or in the chat group, but that the Twitter universe likes to mention, you know. But I'm a firm believer in looking at that other side of this. Look, the product we have, if you love it, it should not affect you if Killer Cross is the champion of NXT for the 17th time. It shouldn't matter if Ethan Page wins the AEW title. If you like Impact, yes, those are missed opportunities, but it's funny that we have turn on these blinders when it comes to Impact, but we don't when it comes to WWE, right? Okay, so everyone believes that Miro is the greatest thing now that he's gone, but he sucked in WWE, right? He just didn't have opportunity there. Does it mean that he sucked? No, it just means the opportunity that he had there, just it wasn't the right time for him, or they didn't have the right thing for him. It doesn't always mean that these companies are dropping the ball or fucking up, for lack of better terms. It just means that there's so many people on the roster that they are elevating or bringing in that some of these people fall to the wayside. And we don't look at it from the business aspect. Sometimes they have contracts that are running up and they just don't want to re-sign. You could throw them all the money in the world. WWE is their goal. Maybe even Impact is their goal. You don't know. It's just there's outside things that no one takes into consideration that bugs me more than anything else. If you couldn't see that the Rascals felt that there was no wall, you know, they were hitting a wall with the Good Brothers coming in and Motor City coming back, plus they need money because this is the first big contract they'll ever be able to get, then they're going to take that deal. On the flip side, once again, can you say that Impact knew their contract was going to run up and every time they've made an extension offer, they denied it? What would you do? Would you push them to the moon and hope for the best? No. They've got laughed at that, doing that with Brian Cage and everybody else. So I want to, when someone says Taya, Rascals, Reno Scum, I want to say this. Sue Young resigned, Sammy resigned, most important, Trey resigned out of those Rascals. Doring, Nevaeh, Kimber, Heath, Myers, Ryder, Good Brothers, Jazz, ODB, Sabin, Storm Young. These people were not on the roster the same amount of time that you guys use Cross and all these people that left. We have brought in twice fold who I think are maybe not better individually, but have fit better at Impact now. So that's rant.
So I do think that if you're an Impact fan, you need to lower your expectations when it comes to what Impact's resources are as it relates to signing talent, right? they're probably, other than the Good Brothers, they're probably not going to sign talent that is going to be desired by the top two companies, right? Because they're going to get into those bidding wars that they do not want to get into. They don't have the resources to do that. They do have it for some people, right? Chris Jericho was one of them that they came out and said, hey, they made a huge offer for me, a competitive offer. So, but they would see Chris Jericho, if he were to come in, what he would be able to bring versus, say, a Brian Cage who was already on the roster for a couple of years, and he kept you at a certain level, right? Now, and I always try to relate things I always relate things to sports. If you think of it this way, if you have a guy on your football team and he's, you have him for a few years, you have him on his rookie contract, you're going to have to start paying him veteran salary, right? At that point, right? So now you're competing with other teams. Can you replace that production in the draft, right? Or can you replace that production with a guy that's probably kind of towards the end of his career, right? That's going to get some veteran pay, but it's going to be about half of the pay of what your guy that's getting is right at the top of his contract. To take, for example, the 49ers last year, they were in contract negotiations with DeForest Buckner. He was their top defensive lineman on the team. And he was right there at the end of his rookie deal where he's making a minimum salary. And so they went ahead and they traded him for a first-round pick to the Indianapolis Colts. They brought in a guy at that same position during that draft, and he got you similar production, right? So when it comes to wrestling, what kind of production are we talking about? Are we talking about match quality production, promo quality production? No, we're talking about eyeballs. We're talking about merchandise sales. We're talking about ticket sales when tickets come back. So that's what we're talking about. They had the Rascals for a couple of years. The Rascals, they knew a year out, and I have verified this. I don't have sources, but I know guys that have some sources. They had known for a year prior to their contracts coming up that they weren't going to come back. And if you follow their social media, and I honestly don't know what Zach Wentz's new NXT name is. I just call him MSK number 2. So he is the hugest WWE fan. He's always wanted to go to WWE, and he's at the age where, they're going to pay him a lot, and the ceiling is a lot higher there for him.
Right.
So he made the right decision. He was able to buy his first car based off the contract that he just got with NXT. He made the absolute right decision. He might not have got there in Impact Wrestling, right, because Impact saw them at a certain level to where, hey, look, we're going to bring in Brian Miners and Mid Cardona, who aren't half the wrestlers that the Rascals are. Right? They're not going to give you the same. But guess what? They got 2 million Twitter followers. They can sell a lot of merchandise. And they have WWE equity. And also, AEW doesn't want to touch those guys. Yeah. They tried with Cardona. He lasted all of about 3 weeks. And now, so you're looking at it at a business perspective. You're not going to get into a big contract negotiation over Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. You're just not. Right? Because WWE is like, hey, if you guys want to come back, cool. If not, we're also cool, because you don't really add any value to our company. But you got a smaller company like Impact. Those guys, with the name value that they have and the things they can produce, they're able to bring something to the table that the Rascals were not able to bring outside of match quality. Right? Match quality is secondary to merchandise sales, to eyeballs, to ticket sales, and things like that. And so, but to play devil's advocate, I am one of those guys that gets disappointed whenever I see Impact not signing their guys. Fair. And I'm super nervous about Moose's contract coming up in June, because I think he's a guy that they should go ahead and back up the Brinks truck. If whatever WWE or AEW is offering, I think they should go ahead and match that offer, because what you're going to start to see when you get guys that are, hey, look, they're at the end of their first deal versus a superstar, which Moose is. He's like at that next level. He's in your top 2 or 3. It's going to make the fans a little bit hesitant to get behind some of these guys. And it's like, okay, look, I can watch this show now, but my favorite guys are all on NXT. Right. I might as well just move over and watch NXT, because that's essentially what the show that I was liking on Impact before. They're using the same guys, they're giving them stupid fucking names, but they're actually starting to push them a little bit, and they're giving them some more character, and they're kind of up in their game. Right. So it is twofold. But I don't think that Impact has lost, of all the guys they've lost, I don't think they have replaced it with equitable in-ring talent with exception to James Storm and
That's
Chris
fair.
Sabin, right? And then when you're looking at the knockouts division, now some of these were no fault of their own, right? So they lost Madison Rain, she retired, right? You got Kylie Ray, obviously that what happened there. You know, Tessa Blanchard, everything that happened, you know, whatever it was, and then Taya Valkyrie was one of the best of the bunch. They replaced with ODB, Jazz, right? And that's all that they had for a little bit. And so a lot of people saw, hey, look, we're at a talent deficit
Right.
now based off of the talent that we just had. So we're not replenishing it fast enough. What Impact does, they're far more patient than the viewer is. The viewer is like, hey, look, you lost these 4 or 5 talent. I want you to replace them right away instead of, hey, we have to negotiate with this guys. And we tell them, hey, you should sign this person. But guess what? Those people have to say yes. You have to give them something that they're going to want. And right now Impact's not giving them a lot of exposure, right? Impact's giving them freedom, right? And they're going to be able to work their indie dates. They're going to be able to control their own shots. They're not going to get a ton of exposure. And the only other thing you have to offer them is a lot of money. Right. And right now they have it for certain individuals, but they don't have it for your
and I think that's
guys.
key. And Craig, I'll explain to you in football terms off camera.
American
clueless.
Football,
but no, you're dead on, and I know we're on time, but I do want to get to not rebuttal that because I agree with you. I think there's a lot of it's circumstantial as well, and that's what we have to understand. And Impact, and I know I talked to was it D Taylor on there, yeah, in the chat group about it often. I'm more patient because I know there's more to, not that he doesn't or anyone else doesn't, but not that I have sources, but I know a little bit into the world of, hey, we have X, Y, and Z coming, but there are negotiations, there are travel restrictions, there are not wanting to waste a surprise, holding off as much as we can so we can have people in the audience. And I'll get to a few of those surprises in a second. But yeah, there are some losses, and I do miss those people. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, when we're bringing in the people that we are, and yes, they supplemented with veterans just to plug the, tape up the gap there, plug the hole from the leak. But there will be people in. Trust me, there will be people coming. Yep. The reinforcements are coming. We unfortunately have to wait a little bit longer, but I think one or two will come tonight, and we'll get to that. But I think it's just a matter of looking at it from all different angles, because we are getting people in here that we are investing in. Or you people say we don't invest in Falaba or Triple XL. Now we have the time. Now we have the time to do that. And unfortunately, we're going to rebuild real quick and get there while some veterans help stop the bleeding. But yeah, let's go to number 3.
Can I just say one more? I'm sorry, before we go on, just one quick thing. And this is a point that I think needs to be said, that Impact really should take heed on. Now, I don't know what their budget restrictions are, but they really do need to expand the roster size quite a bit, because they burn through their matchups very quickly. And they're not able to put a lot of matches on the weekly TV show, and I think that's kind of hurt them a little bit. So they need to bring in guys that can take a bunch of L's, right?
Well,
they need those guys, because right now you got Triple XL losing every week, but and people are like, oh, when are they going to get behind Triple XL? I'm like, well, what are they going to do? Who can they beat? They're not going to beat the Good Brothers. They're not going to beat Beer Guns. Right. So they need to bring in guys to build up some of these guys, so that when we think whenever Triple XL and Good Brothers have another match down the road, that I already don't know the winner of that match before it actually happens. And so I think that is a something that is hurting Impact right now. They just don't have enough.
And I think it's Max always talks about this, and just to wrap that up, but Triple XL in particular, they are the best Brooklyn brawlers that we've seen in a long time. And what I mean by that is they have a gimmick. You know who they are. They have an entrance. Do you know they're going to lose? Currently, yes, you do. But when that next Brooklyn brawler comes around, no matter who it may be, if it was going to be Reno Scum or it's going to be the next people you bring in, Triple XL then gets to move up. And we need to develop that. But the only way you could develop that is by bringing in people that you don't know and being patient for a little bit. So I think it's going to be a nice blend that we're going to see coming into April to May. But I think a lot of it is a contingency on live events. So, all right, number 3. What's up, fool? Who's that? Hakeem? Hey, Hakeem.
Number
Craig. Sorry, buddy.
yeah, so jumping to number 3, we have who do you see coming to fill the roster? New talent or returning
Kind of
talent?
feeds hand in hand.
So, Mike.
Yeah. So with new talent, the two guys, their names got dropped earlier this week. Doc Gallows dropped a name that was out about a month ago that I think would be a great signing. It's Big Cass. I'm not ready to give up on that guy yet. I know that when he was in the tag team with Enzo and on NXT, and then their early days on the main roster, they were one of the top acts in the world at the time. And you got a guy, he's like 6'9", 6'10". He's got a lot of talent. They did try to push him as a single right away and make him into a main event level guy, and he just wasn't ready. And then his personal life spiraled out of control a little bit, and then he got himself into some bad situations. But you know what? He seems like he's happy and healthy. He's stayed sober for over a year, and he's got a lot of people behind him. And Gallows basically admitted to Sean Ross Sapp that hey, look, I'm talking to companies about bringing him in. And look, Impact is a company that if you were a top star or a budding top star or somebody with main event level talent, and maybe you had trouble getting it in the WWE, you could go to Impact for a couple of years and rebuild your career. Look at WrestleMania tonight. What's the co-main event? It's Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, two guys that left WWE. They came to Impact, and they were able to rebuild their careers and turn themselves back into main event level stars. And then they were able to parlay that into making some big, big money. And now you're going to see them in a football stadium, headlining a WrestleMania, right? Now, does Big Cass have that level of talent? I don't know, but I'm willing to find out, right? Take a shot on the guy. Give him a decent little paycheck, bring him in, and see what he's capable of. As far as the names are already out there, Taylor Wilde and Rachel Ellering. Obviously, I think Taylor Wilde is, based off of the promo we saw on Thursday, is definitely coming in. But another guy that could be returning. It's so funny that Global Wrestling Syndicate, right, a indie on the East Coast, was leaking to the dirt sheets that they were negotiating with Davey Richards, right? And how odd. So obviously one side of that really wanted to leak that information, and it somehow turned into a story. Not because anybody gives a shit about Global Wrestling Syndicate, but because Davey Richards is a really good wrestler, and he was a Ring of Honor champion. He was an Impact. He was a big star there. Why not bring him in, and we can have like a battle of the TNA legendary tag teams with the Wolves and the America's Most Wanted. Guns. When Alex Shelley gets his fucking vaccine, maybe he'll come back in, and we'll see the Machine Guns back at it again, and do a TNA wrestling legend tag team tournament, bringing in Davey Richards, and he's a fantastic wrestler. So those are some of the names that I've been hearing about.
Yeah, for us, we've been saying for about over a year now, feels like that since April, that we are going to see AMW. We're going to see Motor City Machine Guns. In fact, if you follow us from day one in the chat, literally, I told you how the Motor City was going to debut, and then it happened like that. And that's not having the inside. I'm not friends with Alex Shelley, unfortunately. It's just people will leak little things, as Mike just mentioned, that they want to get out. And they were hitting at Chris Harris, obviously, and then they went full-fledged and said he was going to, show up. Same with Red, same with Wolves, same with AMW, or who else? Not Good Brothers. I'm missing one, but they do a great job. And if you watch Twitch, you know who's coming because they give you a preview of who they're trying to push at that time. Just like they're trying to leak that Davey Richards is coming back, because I won't spoil it per se and say I know 100%. But I told you a year ago that we would have the Wolves, Motor City Machine Guns, and America's Most Wanted. Max mentioned the Good Brothers, and I think we're going to get that four-way in time. If it's what's next, Slammiversary being the closest, I don't know if it's going to happen that quickly. But this is a really fun time in wrestling, and we're going to reap the benefits. So all these people that are mentioning that this AEW partnership is not pulling its weight, I honestly don't believe that any of this gets done without the intentions of forming that partnership and then through New Japan as well. Because the Good Brothers now have the opportunity to wrestle 3 places. Okay. They have the opportunity to bring in talent to us and to Scott, and they scout like they do, obviously Cass as well. I think we'll see him as well. So I think the ability to be able, or the freedom to kind of pick and choose where you go, just like in sports terms. I always mention this. Back in the day, the franchise was the boss, right? The owners of the teams were the owners of the teams. And if they didn't want to pay you this, they didn't pay you this. If they didn't want to give you an opt-out clause or no trade clause, or sign you for 6 years, they would, to lock you up to a deal that they could. Now we are seeing, because of the internet or whatever it is, freedom of change for the actual athlete. There we go. That's what I was trying to get out. Where the athlete now has the power, because they can say, yeah, I want to sign with Impact and that number sounds good, but if you let me wrestle for AEW New Japan as well and I broker that, we'll take a little money off. It's them are the deals that are happening now, because the power is to the free agent. And rightfully so. Will there be a balance just like everything else? Yes, the rubber band will boom back and we'll find that fine line just like cancel culture and everything else. We'll learn our lesson, but we'll meet somewhere in the middle eventually. Right now, the free agents are in charge. So you're going to see a lot of this. But as far as us, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say it. It's going to be a lot of old talent that comes in first. We are going to see Angle come back. We are going to see the Wolves. We're going to see Motor City. We're going to see MW. We'll probably see Amazing Red and Petey Williams, if not tonight, sometime in the future. So I think it's going to be, the goal for Impact is to bring as many names as you were saying that could give them something more than just the matches right now. Fill and plug those holes up and wait for this partnership, because then you have TNA names that could go to battle with AEW, not just Impact guys who have only been there for a year and a half. So I think we're going to find some of that. Taylor Wilde is definitely coming in. Rachel Ellerling, I'd like to see her match with AOP. I think that would be dope, and a nice wink to her father. And then, I think we're going to see some divisions within the next month be clarified and kind of smooth out. Returning talent is the way I would go, so re-debuting talent. I think Cass is a good one. Before we get to the next segment, we talk about the matches, and then as well as get some calls in there. Hey, Abby. What do you think if it's the deal is, and I doubt it would be for Cass, but just say in general, some weird world where Cass says, I'll come, but Enzo has to come too.
So if you can avoid Enzo, I think that's the way to go. Not that Enzo's not talented. Enzo's got a ton of charisma. He's great on the mic. If they want to bring him in and be a mouthpiece, that's great. But there's a reason why he was cut from WWE, and it wasn't because he wasn't talented on the mic. It's because he was a problem in the locker room. And it appears that only the Good Brothers like those guys. Or not guys, Enzo. The Good Brothers only like Enzo. And nobody else seems to like the dude. So, but me personally, I don't know Enzo. I've never met Enzo. I did see him almost get into a fight with Joey Janela at a Blink-182 concert.
In our chat group.
And
hey, Enzo.
Yeah. I did add Enzo. And he just looks like a big pussy to me. But the guy can really, really spit on the mic. I will give them that. Terrible rapper though. I heard his rap song. One of the worst raps I've ever heard in my life. So,
Macho Man's was.
Yeah, but But so is there some value there by making him a mouthpiece for Big Cass? I maybe in the long term, but I think that right away you're going to get a big collective groan from the people outside of the Impact bubble that you want to try to bring into the bubble to start to watch the show every week. They're going to hear Enzo's name and they're going to groan, and they're not going to want to come watch it. And that would be one of the reasons why they wouldn't want to watch it. So there's a balance there. Are there enough people that would be interested in the show because of him? And would it be good enough to offset the amount of people that would groan because they're annoyed by Enzo? But hey, look, I'll tell you one thing. There was a SummerSlam about 4 years ago, and Enzo and Cass and John Cena were all in the ring together, and the star of that show was
Right.
Enzo. The whole arena was just cheering Enzo, chanting his name, doing the whole thing. So at one point in time, he was the hottest star in the company, and so could he get that fire back? I don't see it. I don't know. But then again, it's like it's like you're fucking Impact, right? You get about 150,000 American viewers live per
Yeah.
week, right? Not counting the +3 and the +7s and the Twitch and the app and all that stuff. But so at this point, why not take a couple of chances?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't disrupt. I say
Sorry, you're
take a
breaking up a little
chance.
bit. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you completely, and I mentioned that in the group as well. Is it's I've been with Impact since day one, June 19th, 2002. Like I've seen it all. I've been through all the motions. I've seen all, and the reason I bring that up is because even though a lot of us have, or a lot of us older heads, there has been a time where I had to accept that I am disposable. I am a t-shirt buying fan since day one. DVD. I have. If you see the unboxing, I just unboxed the Toys R Us exclusive, the 10 cheap plug, the 10-pack mini set that I finally just opened. That I've had for 11 years. So I've bought it all. I've seen it all. I've done it all. But I had to come to the understanding that I am one person, and as unfortunate to me as it is to not like something they do or who they bring in, that one loss or 1,000 or 10,000 is not anything to them when they could build 100,000 more or whatever they think or figure into the numbers that these people would bring in. So we have to understand that unfortunately or not unfortunately, they listen to us. They might be in the chat group, so be careful what you say. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we're disposable. So, numbers talk, money talks. It's a business. I love that Impact is the most, I believe, compassionate to their fans or loyal to their fans. But hey, if you could take that next step and it's at the sake of 10,000 fans, fuck it, right? Gotta make that bread, or you won't have a platform to give wrestlers jobs. So, all right, we're gonna kick it to commercial. Oh, Craig, you want to say something before we kick it to the commercial?
Just on the whole Enzo and Cass thing, if Enzo and Cass are a package deal, take them. Yes, yes, like Mike said, there'll be a few people who aren't happy about Enzo joining, but in terms of his the way he is backstage and where he is in person, I guess. Obviously, Impact are well known for having a one chance
Policy.
rule type of thing. Yeah, you have one chance, you fuck up, you're out. Simple as that. So I think Impact could be the right place for Enzo.
It's one fuck up if you get caught. It depends on how Twitter reacts to it. Let's be
yeah. It's if the internet gets mad, then you're out.
No, I agree with you, Craig. Yeah. I mean, you give them a chance, and we are the place of the island of misfit toys. ECW was that. That's us now. We take these people that have one little thing wrong or a past that's an issue. I'm sorry if you judged me on what I did at 22 through 26, 18 through 21, bro. I wouldn't be here before you. I barely was, and barely am, rather. So it's just, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt a little bit, and the fact that if the Good Brothers are sticking their head out for them, that they must believe that they can at least keep them in line. Because I doubt they want to disrupt the company that they have a stake in, for lack of better terms. All right, so here's our one back to our T-shirt exclusive commercial. You can see the first 3 exclusive editions, and we'll be right back to talk about the card.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast.
All right, guys. There, if you didn't,
we're
back. There's our shirts if you got to see them. We're gonna try to keep them at a reasonable price. Try to in the 15 range there, so we guys can get these out, and to our loyal fans especially. And the chat group ones are exclusive to the members of our chat group, obviously. So thank you guys for all the love and support you give us, and keeping us in line with our pessimism or optimism. So it's well appreciated. All right, Craig, I'm gonna kick it to you, and you're gonna choose the match, and we'll go one by one, and then if you want to line up the first call, we'll get that started.
Yeah. So take it to the first match. Well, the first match I can think of. I think it could be an absolute banger if done right. Doc Gallows taking on Black Taurus. Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, Craig, I agree with you. I don't understand how the match got made, why the match got made. There's no issue here. But I will tell you, I have been so impressed with Black Taurus. Like, you would not believe just how great that guy is. We saw him before whenever they would go to Mexico and he would work on the undercards a little bit. And he was good, but I did not really see much in him. But this latest run and him being in with Decay, I think is a perfect fit for him. And he has just looked fantastic. And I tell you what, when the Good Brothers came in, I think a lot of people thought that they would be lazy and they would be acting a lot like Hall and Nash whenever Hall and Nash went to WCW and then on in TNA when they were there, and they were just kind of half-assing their matches. That hasn't been the case with Good Brothers. They have gotten down, dude. And Gallows specifically, for a big guy, he has really put in a lot of effort into his matches. And, I think a Good Brothers versus Decay matchup down the road could be something special. So I'm looking forward to the match. I have no reason why it's happening, but I think it's just going to be an enjoyable match. They don't need a feud.
Well,
it's going to be a good match.
There. Good to see you again, Armin. Because Decay and Good Brothers backstage issues when Edwards told Good Brothers to leave the locker room. So I guess Decay backed him up. It was a small little thing that they put in there.
Hey, I cover the show and I get paid to do that, and I forgot about that, which tells me they didn't do a very good job of promoting it.
It was a very wink. Here you go, boom. Yeah, and I think that's what we touched on at the beginning of the show is we're going to have a lot of these matches that might not have the investment from a storyline standpoint. But when you put these two guys in the ring and you give them time, they're going to go. I with you, am very impressed by both of them. I think people aren't understanding that when you let Big LG or you let Machine Gun Anderson go singly or together, they're going to kill it. We forget that about them because they've wrestled in WWE for so long and we don't think about their New Japan. But Machine Gun Anderson, I personally believe is probably one of the top 10 singles wrestlers if let go in the world. Very good. Well, I won't say good, very great wrestler. And it'd be interesting if someone we mentioned, Michael Elgin, in the chat group, comes back because I would pay my child's college tuition. Well, probably not. To see, there won't be college tuition when she gets older. We won't see to see Machine Gun Anderson versus Michael Elgin. I think that would be insane. But is back to this match. It's going to be a fun match. Is there any stipulation? Is it hardcore? Anything goes? Just fun, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. And Black Taurus, man, killing it. Craig.
Yeah, I'm really here for this match. I mean, when the Good Brothers was signed, everyone was pretty convinced, and rightly so, that Carl Anderson would be the standout singles wrestler of that team. But Doc has a really good singles. Yeah. He's a good singles wrestler as well. He's maybe not the same level as Anderson, but as a big man, he's arguably one of the best in Impact right now, in my opinion. Because he's always been, from Japan to WWE, he's been good. From Ace and Eights, questionable.
He was learning. He's a young man there.
Yeah. But with all the experience he's had, and obviously is Kane and CM Punk's Straight Edge Society and all that, he's improved so much. I think I don't see him winning, but I think they could, if it's not opening the show, it is a potential for it to steal the show.
Okay. And you think Black Taurus is going to take it? All of you guys?
Yeah.
I think
LG.
LG is going to win. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to call an AO. Are you there, buddy? I see you in the chat group. Just make sure you turn off us on Twitch and keep us on your phones. I'm going to call you now while Craig introduces the matchup. And when you guys call in, make sure you turn us down, turn us up on your phone, and then tell us what you think will be the match of the night as far as what you're looking forward to the most. And then if you have a question that you want us to answer. Craig, what match are we going to talk over?
Let's go for the knockouts gauntlet weapons match with, I believe, TNAIW, Jordan Grace, and I think Nevea is the only one who's not involved
Yeah,
in
it's
this
the
match.
rest of the 6, I believe. I think it's
So-
Jordan, Susan, TNAIW, Havoc, Rosemary, and Lish.
All right.
All right.
You
Hey,
guys
what's
hear me?
going on, brother?
AO.
Hey,
Doing
oh,
good, man.
Doing well.
Hey.
So before, well, we're just announced that we're talking about the weapons match first. You got a prediction on that?
The knockouts
sir.
weapons match. Yes. I feel this can go two ways. With the current women on the schedule in the match, I think probably you have to give it to TNAIW because if you remember, kind of months back when she came back, there was kind of at least a tease or so, between like a Deanna versus TNAIW. But then again, they're both heels, so who knows? But and another one is that in Impact they always kind of give you like these surprise additions or so, and I figure maybe we just seen her vignettes, obviously, the last 2 weeks. Like, what if Taylor Wilde makes a surprise addition to the match? And plus, they got to build up. This match is for the number one contenders, of course. So, hey, if Taylor's going to be Deanna's next challenger, hey, what better way than to, win this number one
Yeah,
contenders?
no, that's a great point, and that's actually where I was going to go because we talked about it in the room as well. That I think it was actually you who posted it, the picture of the hit list that whoever was debuting was going to attack
Yeah.
first, and first was Deanna. So we're either, I would imagine, seeing her at the end of Deanna Jazz, depending on what you think that ends, or she's an added participant in this match, which would make sense of she's grunge hardcore now. She could take on that. Mike, what do you feel? You agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. So this is for the number one contender to the Knockouts title, right? Yeah. So none of the announced participants, I think, would be very intriguing for Rebellion. I know that Jordan Grace obviously is amazing, but they've already had that match several times. We burned through that match pretty quick. So I would say that Taylor Wilde would be perfect for the spot. Bring her in as a surprise, let her get the victory, and then that would be the most intriguing matchup with all of the women on the roster right now for Deonna Purrazzo at Rebellion. And Rebellion really needs to be a showcase for the undercard talent, right? So you need to put all your best matches on that show. Would Taylor Wilde and Purrazzo be the best match? Wilde's been out 10 years, right? She hadn't wrestled in a long time. And when she wrestled before, it wasn't really the quality of the women's wrestling back then isn't the same that it is today. It's stepped up several notches. So I'm going to be interested to see just how well she adapts her style from 10 years ago to today. So, back in the day, she was wrestling, Angelina Love and those are like very, very different style back then, right? Right now, they are much better athletes and much better wrestlers than they were. So, but she needs a new opponent, and Taylor Wilde would be new. So that'd be my choice.
NAO, do you have a question for us, bud, or comment or concern?
Yeah, it relates to like the partnership, the AEW partnership we were mentioning earlier. It seems like Impact is now like it's not like they're not giving the best stuff yet. I mean, I feel like a lot more is for to come, which is what certain concerned fans are not understand. Like, picture this, you will want all these big things to happen with a live crowd. Am I right? Like, let's say Kazuchika Okada from New Japan, like, let's say if we got him, would you want him to come back with it like in an empty in the studio or in a live crowd? So yeah, my point is like I feel like Impact knows their plans ahead as far as who they want to bring and this and that. And I figure, once this whole pandemic is done with, we're gonna see like, times 10 times the best, have they were, a few years back. You agree?
Yeah, yeah. Appreciate that. You're calling the question as always. I think we go on and on about this because it until it's going to be one of those prove it things. And Impact or us and Impact, you can say, oh, wait, and it's going to be great. But until you prove it or show it, that perception of it's not going to happen is going to be there. Um, I think once again, as I you know, keep clamoring on, is that AEW in the narrative that we've created on the internet, but also AEW in the narrative that Impact and AEW is creating on their television, is that AEW is light years ahead of us in popularity, in perception, in stature. So why the hell, one, if Impact has no money, if that's the narrative we're trying to create of David and Goliath, why would we have the money to advertise on AEW? It doesn't make sense in a kayfabe world. Why would they invite our wrestlers onto their show to promote Impact if we're beneath them? Once again, Tony Khan, asshole owner. Kayfabe world, oh, comment pen. It doesn't work. So the narrative that needs to be created is that us in the locker room hate these guys because they spit on us and look down upon us and make fun of us and don't want to deal with this partnership 50-50. So to have that work, we need to have a slow burn. So I think now, especially with the Eddie Edwards promo that just happened, they're going to start kicking down the door and work on that. So
yeah, I just want to jump on this quickly. First of all, I'm very glad there was no paid ad this week. Be very glad. But with the whole AW's and Impact thing, yeah, I agree. They're not gonna give the best for no pop.
Yeah.
Yes, there'll be a social media pop, but obviously the wrestlers live for that. Holy shit, pop! Am I really seeing this? So I mean, Impact aren't dumb. They may act it sometimes, but it's been planned for months and months and months before Kenny Omega won the AEW World title. And this it's not just let's do this, it'd be a fun thing. It's been planned. Now, if you watch this, you know how I feel on the AEW. I'm not their biggest fan. And that may be an understatement, but I'm not their biggest fan. I just think the New Japan deal, I feel, with the names, could be more beneficial to Impact than the AEW relationship.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that, and I also wanted to say though to the AEW fans out there, that's not a shitting on it because at the end of the day, you do have Kazarian, you do have Jerry Lynn, you have Christopher Daniels, you have these people that have history with us staying Christian. So I think there's going to be a give and take, and the best is yet to come. But yeah, we appreciate the question. I'm gonna boot you off here and bring someone else on, my friend. Enjoy the show.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
So let's get a winner for the Knockouts Gauntlet. Mike, who are you going with?
Winner for the Knockouts Gauntlet. Well, if there are no surprises, then I will go ahead and say Jordan Grace. But if there are surprises, I would say Taylor Wilde.
Yeah, if I like both of those. The one thing I want to take into consideration is that if Deonna loses tonight, Jazz would make a lot of sense to win this. Or excuse me, Jordan would make a lot of sense to win this. Because then you have that inevitable, oh, I respect you thing, and maybe Jordan takes that. They give Jazz a nice little quick run, and then Jordan, it turns heel finally and resigns or something of that nature. But I think there's a bunch of different options here, but I like both of those choices for different reasons.
Now, I've got 2 words for
Jesus. You. Yes, buddy.
Su Yung.
Ah, okay. I could see that.
I mean, they already did that. They did that at Bound for Glory, and they did it a couple months later.
That's true.
So, and I don't want to shut you down immediately, Craig. I think they have good. sorry, that was kind of a dick move on my part, but they have been building a return of Su Yung, but I feel like they've already done that a couple of times, and so, but it honestly doesn't. It does kind of make sense with the story that they're telling. I just don't know that that's your best foot
No,
forward
I
for
agree.
Rebellion.
I agree with that.
That's fair. Fair. It's seeming like they are headed towards that direction. So
Next up, keep
it's
rolling.
we'll go for the Charlie legal match.
Oh, okay.
Shera versus Hernandez.
All right, you guys want me to get
Yeah,
this
just
one
go
out of the
ahead.
way? Okay, so this is going to be not only the worst match of the weekend. It is, I think, at the end of the year, in the coveted. Oh, this is going to make so many people mad. In the coveted Wrestling Observer Awards, this is going to be the worst match of the year. That's my prediction. I think you got two guys with two left feet. Hey, Hernandez has a great dive over the top rope. Mahabali Shira is so lost in the ring. He gets lost on the way to the ring. So, and they're having a hardcore match where chairs are legal. I don't want to be the one to tell Tommy Dreamer this. I'd hate to be the guy that explains hardcore wrestling to Tommy Dreamer. Chairs are already legal in hardcore matches. So,
well, that's all that's legal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if it's just a, how on WWE's table, ladders, and chairs, this is just a chairs match. Okay, cool. Please keep it short. But if they do give it some time, it's gonna be a top candidate for one of the worst matches of the year. And I hope to God, it gets rated by some of the top dirt sheets out there, because the fallout and the drama and the anger will be so endlessly entertaining to me.
I think it'll get lost.
It's gonna be beautiful.
I think it gets lost in the cart. I don't think you're wrong. I think there's a potential for a 45, 6-year-old man, whatever Hernandez is, and a 30-year-old who just is soft. I think we're going to see some, and that doesn't. I don't dislike either guy. Hernandez is one half of my favorite tag team of all time, and Shira is one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, and I believe he has the look now to capitalize it. He's just so kind that everything looks gentle. So I think we will get a chair shot to Lance Storm proportions, where it's just like we're gonna see one of those tonight on the back. You're gonna see a lot of bent over Hernandez getting back cracked with the chair. Same with Shira. We'll see that spot, but I'm not running to the recorder to the recorder. I'm so old. Run to the to my phone to record my review of that match by any means. So
yeah, no, it's not going to be great by any stretch. I mean, Shearer, he shouldn't. If it sounds harsh, but he shouldn't be in Impact right now. No. He shouldn't have come back. What I mean,
our Indian market,
in my opinion, if you don't,
let's get that out of the way. They're one of our biggest, money makers.
But if you don't make it out of the Performance Center, it's not great.
Yeah, I thought that his role as a monster-looking guy on the outside for Rohit was a good role for him, and they dropped it rather quickly. So I don't know. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I will say that I didn't watch Explosion very many times, but I was interested in this guy that won the gut check contest called Jackson Stone. And Jackson and Shira, they had a match. I don't want to call it a good match, but that was probably the best I'd ever seen Shira in. There were a couple of spots in the match where you could tell he was lost, but Stone kind of brought him back. Brought him back to earth. So if Shira was born in the wrong decade. Right. He has a $1 million body. He can't really go in the ring, but if he were around in the 80s, he probably would have been a millionaire.
For sure. And it is, how do we get him to work? Oh, Lucha, try to answer your phone, buddy. Are you in? The question is, how do we get him, if he is a good hand backstage, is a good dude, which he is, and they see the potential in him because he's 30 in the size. How do you make it work with him? And yes, you hide his flaws, so I guess a chair match helps. But we really need to start utilizing that OVW partnership, I think, or something to where this kid
Well,
could get some reps when the time COVID kind of passes by. But
yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I think that they just advertised that Shira is main eventing an OVW show here soon,
okay,
and that and then Shogun Jackson Stone is actually going to be on that
I
show
think we'll
as
see
well.
him
So,
soon too. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Craig, let's go to the next one. Lucha, I tried calling you 3 times, brother. Who else is Bert? Is he going to be?
All right, so next matchup. Let's go for.
Craig, really quickly. I'm sorry, buddy. Who was the next call?
I'll check quickly. Yeah, Bert said he'll call in.
Let me get him then. All right, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, let's go to the triple threat tag team match of mystery partners. So we have TJP and mystery partner, which is now reversed to be Fallah Bar, Ace Austin and mystery partner, who will probably be Madman Fulton, and Josh Alexander, who mystery partner said who he said he'll always look north.
My first instinct, obviously, is that they're gonna try to hype up that it's Ethan Page. Yeah, it's not. I firmly believe that he is over in AEW as a coup. I really do. I still firmly believe that. We could do another show. I know, but you hear me. I have a lot of reasons.
Okay.
I'll say that. With that being said, I think there's 2 people you could look at here. Does Elgin come back for something like this? It would be a banger of the match. He would come in as a face, so I think the internet would chill out a little bit. We could go on and on about why I don't think this guy should be written off right away. But I think the more likely choice will be Petey Williams. I see they've been putting a lot on Twitch of Petey Williams. He's a hand and a friend of obviously backstage. He was a producer at a time. If he's not still, I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I don't know if the travel's hurting him there. But yeah, I think we could see Petey Williams here. Mike, are you on the same page?
I think Petey Williams is a possibility. I don't think that nothing against Petey Williams. We've seen Petey Williams in Impact a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think that's much of a surprise. There's a guy up in Canada who was not allowed to come into the U.S. for like 5 years because he broke the visa rules. He didn't renew his visa in time, and his 5-year ban is up. His name is Speedball Mike Bailey, and he's been rumored to be coming into Impact. It's a Canadian company. Obviously, Scott D'Amore knows the guy. Josh Alexander knows the guy. They wrestle on Destiny Wrestling. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to predict Speedball Mike Bailey for Josh Alexander. Yeah.
Sticking with the mics.
Oh,
Mics stick together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love to be Mike Bailey. I know his ban was up. I think it was last week.
Oh wow.
It was earlier. It was earlier in March. It was before the taping.
Because it's taped.
Yeah. If it was last week, he wouldn't have been allowed in the country. So it was before the tapings happened. So and it was a much ado on the internet too whenever it was. So if I have my timing correct, I think that he would have been able to come into the country. Could be wrong.
Also, for people who aren't familiar, I live in Western New York, upstate New York, we're pretty close to the border. Not too far. I could drive to the city in more time than it would take me to get to the border. But with that being said, our license have something called a plus. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but what it is just a basic license, but it also for Canada and Mexico, you could add on, I think maybe just Canada now, but you could add on much quicker, much easier, and much cheaper than getting a passport and all your visa stuff worked out. So if you're saying, oh, okay, it's right before the tapings, no, he could got his license and take care of like that and be over here. So that is a great possibility. But another reason I could go to Canada tomorrow if I want to. All right, Craig, what do we got next?
We'll jump to, I've forgotten what it's called already, but it's the blindfold hardcore match between Jake Something and Brian Myers.
Mike, you want to start on that one?
Yeah, so I think the second worst match of the weekend will be the hardcore blindfold match. It takes a special type of talent to be able to pull off one of those matches. Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick Martel did a pretty good job in 1991 of doing that. I don't think either one of these guys did that. I could be completely wrong, but this is a complete misuse of Jake something. He's playing second fiddle to a feud between the Major Brothers, just like he was playing second fiddle to the feud between Beer Guns and VBD. Once they got involved, he was just kind of a guy on the outside. So my thoughts on Jake something possibly being wedged into that main event scene. It doesn't appear like that's happening right now, and that's rather disappointing to me. So I think Jake something will likely get the victory, and Matt Cardona will help him.
Yeah, I see it being something simple WWE style like that. I don't see something, pun intended, coming out of this for Jake something. They need to find something for him, so he doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I am one of those people that firmly believe he should have joined VBD after teasing not. Just because that gives him something to latch onto for now, and then you say, oh, he's the hero that turned on VB, or whatever it may be. So they need to find that for him. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I was sour on both Ryder and Myers from the get. Myers more so, not as much as Heath, who I've turned around on. Unfortunately got injured. But with Myers, he has the ability to be disliked by anyone. And I mean that as a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what to say to be funny, but also wittingly diss somebody or slip. He's very good at that character, and that's why I thought the orange and the blue and all that bullshit didn't work for him. He needs to find his thing. The most professional wrestler, I don't know, but
Terrible. Absolutely
yeah, I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, and his gimmick of just being mad that he got. He was part of the roster cut. I don't like that either. He needs to stop that.
Well, he needs to figure it out. I really thought he was going to be a good brother. I think that's still in the line based on his gear, but we'll see. But I hear some noise in the background. That must be one and only Lucha. Are you there, bud?
Lucha!
What's up, brother?
What's up, everybody?
So,
how are we?
What was I going to say? First of all, who do you think is going to win this match? I didn't say. I'm going to go with Jake's. Jake something by some shenanigans. And Lucha, if you want to start there, and then.
I don't know. Brian Myers is the most professional wrestler, so he's going to professionally find his way to, finagle the Babel and get this W, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anything that gets Mid Cardona a loss, I'm with it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm still not a fan.
Wait, is Matt Cardona on this show?
No, he's not.
No,
just in general.
He's scheduled to run in.
I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
damn, man, I'm just talking about this. That's how much I care about this match. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think it's one of those. Unfortunately, I don't want to take anything away from the wrestlers, but you might need to get up and get your sodas at this time. What's the question, comment, concern for us, brother?
Whoever it was that mentioned Jordan Grace winning the gauntlet and then Jazz winning the title.
Unfortunately, me.
Get out of my head, because that was my thinking all day.
I don't hope that
head.
happens, but I wouldn't mind. I get
I'm feeling an upset. I'm feeling Jazz coming out of here with the belt. And I'm also feeling Deanna sue at Rebellion, but it won't be for the title. That's just going to be the, oh, bitch, you cost me my title. Oh, well, you cost me my demon side. Like, we got to fight.
I see that.
just to get another knockout match on the card. That's
where
not
do you think
a title
Taylor
match.
fits into that then, if she debuts today?
I don't know why, but I feel like Taylor will be best suited in the tag division for right now, because, like you said, she hasn't wrestled in 3,000 years.
Yeah.
So, to kind of get her feet wet, it'll be good to put her in the tag division a little bit,
I think she's been training for a while. I think someone mentioned it. Truck up there said it. I don't disagree with that. The only thing, once again, is that hit list that was posted with Deanna on top. That's the only thing that makes me keep wanting to go straight there. But I think it would be something if she debuted with Sarita, or if Sarita couldn't make it, maybe Rosita. That would be interesting.
And I mean, as far as
Taylor and
Deanna
Lish. Yeah, I agree.
Taylor
sorry,
go. As far as Deanna and Taylor go, I feel like that's a match best suited for Slammiversary because Taylor's a TNA. She's TNA royalty. So, she falls in that line with James Storm and EY and Saban and all those TNA guys that I would want to push to the forefront of Slammiversary.
Okay, fair enough. Let's get to, since your question was more of a statement, let's keep you on for another one. We'll ask you a question. Craig, what's the next one up?
Yeah, so let's go. What I think will be won't be the main event. Let's go Hardcore War, Violent by Design versus Team Dreamer with Swan, Eddie, and Mac.
Yeah, keep this simple. I think. Wait, they announced Dreamer's team, and who is it? I'm sorry, one more time.
Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann, and Willie Mack.
Oh, well, that defeats what I was going to say. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think they announced it. They announced it via Twitter or something.
Yeah, last night they did.
See,
Yeah.
this is where I thought something cool would happen. AMW reunion finally or something. Yeah, I'll just say VBD then. Well, I mean, it has our world champion. I don't know.
No. Yeah. So can I jump in here?
I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm like Mahaba
So
Shira.
first of all, yeah, no. First of all, the fact that they're called Team Dreamer with the world heavyweight champion in the match is fucking stupid. It's, I know that Dreamer is the one that set the match up, but him being the captain of the team with Rich Swann on it, and Rich Swann's getting ready to go into the main event of Rebellion against Kenny Omega, boggles my mind. But with that said, Rich Swann, gets the victory here. Whatever happens, Rich Swann needs to be pinning somebody in the match. Anybody but Joe Doring. They can't touch Joe Doring. They got to keep him strong. Yeah. Diener's a guy that can eat some pins. Eric Young tore his ACL. He's going to be out for a while, so maybe he can eat a pin.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think he wrestles this match with it, with the torso. Yeah.
Yes. He wrestled this match, and then I guess this coming up week on Impact, he's going to wrestle Chris Sabin. He spoiled it himself publicly, man. So with a torn ACL. So,
if anyone knows how to wrestle someone with a torn ACL, I think Chris Sabin would take care of him. So,
both of his ACLs are probably still gone. So, it's got to be Team Swan winning the match. Impact didn't really do a very good job of promoting the rules of this match. Somebody let us know in the chat room. I think it was Cody he actually sent in the rules. He went and found them. It's essentially a war games, but with no cage. So there's no cage. So it's gonna be 2 men in. Yeah. So it's gonna be like they're gonna 2 men will enter, and then every couple of minutes until both teams are full, and then it's gonna be by pin or submission only at the very end. So they just don't have a cage. So because you can't fit a cage in that little studio that they got going on there. So they're gonna have some kind of shenanigans going on with it. So again, it's not a well promoted match. There's no real feud here, other than Eric Young bumping into Tommy Dreamer backstage. So but because of the talent involved, I think it's going to be a good match, and it should be pretty interesting. And I hope Rich Swann is the guy that gets the W.
Lucha, let's get you in here, and then we could. I see Brother Bert's on there, so we'll bring Bert in as well.
I'm pretty sure everybody on Team Tommy has had beef with Eric Young since Eric Young's been back.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about it.
At one point.
It's just not a current feud.
So my original thought was, anything involving Tommy Dreamer, he's obviously eating the pin. But I do see Rich pinning EY to get the win and kind of sort of finally vanquishing his old rival, Eric Young, going into the biggest title match of his career, giving him some momentum.
I can see that. I mean, I think it's a matter of this Eric Young situation with his ACL coming into play as well. If they want to, have him lose and then him snap and blame it on everyone else, that would be a narrative for someone to eat the pin. But I think Diener makes the most sense. But who knows? Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
All right. So
regardless, I just want to cast my vote right now for Eric Young for Impact Wrestler of the Year.
Okay. We got a ways to go, but I'm not against that. I'm not against that. Since day one, he's shown up and elevated this. And VBD is
Five.
amazing. So. Craig?
We have about how many we want to get people off. So we have about
Yeah.
10 minutes. So
Just later, buddy.
let's jump to the main or should be the main event. Impact Knockouts title versus Jazz's career. Diana Prize versus Jazz. Who have we got? And how does this match go in?
Mike, if you want to start that one as well, I'm going to invite Bert in here.
Yeah, so I think that this has the potential to be an excellent match. I happen to think Deonna Purrazzo's winning. They're trying to build her as one of the all-time great champions. Jazz is great. Her matches lately have not been good, but her match with Jordynne Grace back at Genesis, I want to say, I thought was excellent. So she can turn it on when she needs to. Unfortunately for Jazz, her shins are connected directly into her thigh bones, right? Like she ain't got no knees. So let's let this poor lady retire. She's done enough. I feel like they built up her career. They did a very good job on the video package on Thursday. It was excellent. I'm ready for her to go in, have a last great match in the main event against the world champion and go out like that and have a big celebration afterwards with a feel-good moment. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Bert's on here. Bert, we'll get your opinion in just 1 second, buddy. I just want to acknowledge you. But I can see this going 2 different ways. I hope this is something that kicks off the show or is a little bit earlier if Deonna's going to win, because then the spoiler of who the number 1 contender doesn't ruin the outcome of this match per se. Just because I think if it's Jordynne, I see it being more so Jazz. And like I said, if it's Taylor that comes in and enters, I can see Deonna keeping it. So I think there's too many options to kind of just pick who's going to win. I don't know as far as, how the number 1 contender affects this match. I mean, but you're right. I love Jazz since day one, man. It's just unless she's going to vacate after winning it, I can't see her holding on to it for that long, or it being necessary to create a narrative for whatever match Deonna's going to have next. So, Bert, you're there, buddy. Let's get you on to say your opinion, and then if you have a question, comment, concern.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Yourself?
I'm good. I'm really torn on this one. I could make a case that I could see Jazz having a short run, just for the simple fact that I don't think it hurts Deonna to lose. And then also I think if Deonna was able to beat her and win her title back, that's Deonna pinning a legend, and only just cements her legacy as well. But I'm going to go with Deonna on this one. I just don't see her losing.
Yeah, I think it's hard to it's hard to predict who's going to take that belt off her, because she's the standard bearer. I don't see anyone that's on her level right now, and Jordynne's already proved, unfortunately, in kayfabe that she is not at this time. So it's going to be interesting, but it's maybe one of those things that surprises us. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Do you have a question, comment, concern, my friend?
Yeah, it's a comment on Deonna as well. This I've been saying this for a while, but what I want to see in terms of the AEW and Impact relationship, I want to see Deonna go to AEW and take their belt as well. Because like I've said before, when I think of Impact, I think of the Knockouts division. And I just think Deonna going there and becoming the female belt collector would just be something incredible to see, just having her on both shows with both belts. I just think that would just cement her legacy as well. And it would just kind of show the people, WWE, who let her go, that they made a huge mistake. I still can't believe they did that. She has talent for days.
She has talent for days, but the word has it that she was quite the pain in the ass in NXT. She was ready to get out of there. So
I think it was her goal to get out once she saw the landscape there, and some people aren't built for that, and that's okay. We'll reap the benefits of that. But I think that's a great idea, because we've seen, even though it might be cool for Rich or Moose or Kenny to belt collect, we've seen a male champion do that before. And not too long ago was Austin Aries. That was his gimmick, the belt collector. So to see a knockout or a woman go show to show, who we think is obviously better than a lot of the women wrestlers out there to begin with, would be something interesting that I think would garner attention more so than I think more positive attention than say giving a woman a chance at the world title like we did with Tessa. I think there's
I think that would move the needle, making Deanna the belt collector, her showing up. I think a lot of people would be talking about
I
that.
agree with you there, buddy. Well, enjoy the show. We're gonna kick you off so we can say goodbye. We're kind of short on time, but I'm sure we'll hear from you from next week.
Okay.
Bert, thank you for calling, my friend. Enjoy the show. All right.
You too, Matt.
All right,
You two guys.
Easy.
All right. Let me get him out of here. I hate removing people from call. I didn't mean to kick you out, Bert. I just want to. Just want to.
It literally says kicked out on the
I
screen.
know
That's
it's
hilarious.
deflating, man. Man, the TNAIW fam, we're not kicking anyone out. Not kicking. All right. So yeah, we hit all the matches. Is there one that you guys in the chat or you guys here is your match of the night that you see legitimately coming out with this where people are saying, "Damn, that was a good match"?
For me, it's Diona and Jazz.
Okay.
Yeah. Besides Diana and Jazz, I'm going LG and
Yeah, I think
Torcos.
both of those are quality surprise good matches. And not surprised by the talent in it, just build up and obviously Jazz being on the brink of retiring. So I think there's a lot into play there, but I think those can sneak up on us. I'm most looking forward to the TJP, Ace Austin, and Josh Alexander thing. One for the debut, but just all six of those guys can go. And granted, I say what I say about Fala, and there's some things we didn't touch on, and I forgive me on that. We'll talk about it next week. But with Fala, he could still go. We know that every six of these guys can go. So I think we're going to see a good match there. That should be total nonstop action. And then, of course, second for me is the number one contenders match. I am interested in seeing how, because last time we gave the knockouts a chance to go hardcore or have Monsters Ball, for instance, we got a banger. And I think these girls want to show up the BBD and the men's War Games match, I guess that it is.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
That Monsters Ball was one of my favorite knockouts matches ever.
Really?
Honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I can counter that though, the last time we had a multi-woman match was Bound for Glory, and it wasn't the best.
Yeah, was that Call Your Shot or the right? No,
Anniversary.
Okay. Yeah.
Anniversary, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, guys, I always say if we could get out of here a little bit early to get you guys set up to get your popcorn and candy and beer and weed, whatever you're into, we'll get you to do that. So we'll say our byes. I want to thank Mike at Combat Republic. He's already mentioned. I'll give him a chance to plug that stuff so I don't mess it up. Kick it to you, Mike. But thank you for coming on, buddy. It's a long time coming.
Hey, I know, man. I've been really wanting to come on the show for a long time. We finally were able to sync up our schedules, and good news. My toddler did not do a run-in. They actually took her to the park. So
mine's screaming.
We're doing good. Yeah, so follow me at Combat Republic, but I also, as a lot of you guys already know, that I write exclusively for Fight Game Media right now. I write about Impact Wrestling. I am their Impact guy. So I do a weekly column there called Brace for Impact. It comes out at fightgamemedia.com every Friday now. As soon as the ratings are out, I'll finish doing the touch-ups, and I'll do a ratings analysis, a quick one. It should be posted by Friday night, Saturday morning. And then every Thursday night, Friday morning, I do a podcast for them on their Patreon. It's $2.99 a month, and it gets not only my podcast, but they do AEW podcasts, they do boxing, MMA, some classic pro wrestling. John Moxley pops in, once a month. John Moxley will come in and do some stuff with us. Cool. Everybody's favorite, Dave Meltzer, comes in and does a Q&A every now and then. He doesn't really talk about, backstage politics and current events and news and things like that. It's more historical perspective, which is where I think he's best at. I think he's in his wheelhouse when he's talking about the history of pro wrestling. And so he does a very good job with that. So he comes in, does a Q&A. You can ask him just about anything. So come on in, join the Fight Game Media Patreon. Tell him Mike Gilbert sent you. Yesterday was my birthday. So for my birthday, get some pocket change. Yeah. Thank you. Get some pocket change and dish out about $3 and tell them I sent you.
There
I'll get
you
a
go.
raise.
There's a sales pitch. And go do it, guys. If you like what you heard here, or even if you didn't, who gives a shit? Go support the man. He's a strong family member of us. And of course, if you want his opinions as well, our chat group, he's on there often, as all of you are. So I appreciate that. Craig, you got something to send it to?
Only that. We'll see you all next week for another Talking Nonsense about Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, it's back to
live.
our original time. Some cool, more cool announcements that we weren't available to or able to reveal here. But look out for, as Craig mentioned before, Hard Tent Game Show coming to you this month. Not on this channel, but on another. That should give us a little bit bigger of a range for shows like that. And the contestant was none other than Lucha, who did a good job. I won't spoil it, but he did a good job and won some really cool shit. Speaking of cool shit and buying stuff, here's our t-shirts one more time. Enjoy Hardcore Justice, guys. Pleasure as always.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast.